Hi, this video is meant to try to help bring a little bit of clarity when it comes to the ambiguity and the hidden stats of predator hunting grounds, specifically with the predator itself. Um, Discord, if you've ever been there, they have a resource channel, and I try to help contribute to it as much as I can. But a lot of the information there is outdated or uh, it's scattered everywhere. So I figured I might as well try to create a compilation video of some of the stuff that I'd like to cover, at least for this video in particular. So the scout's sitting at 1,000 hit points. The next step up is going to be the alpha, which is at 1,100. Be all right. Where are you at? There you are. The alpha is at 1,100. Also, take note of these bars here. So you have the scout looking at like a 1.2. The alpha is about 2.1 bars, I guess. So there's a 100 hit point difference there, which I'll be going into later, where these bars just don't make any sense at all, really. I thought they did at first, but they don't. So anyway, scout is 1,000 hit points. Alpha predator is 1,100. All of the hunter variants are 1,250 health. So 1,250 for the jungle hunter, 1,250 for the city, 1,250 for the hunter, and 1,250 for the elder as well. Samurai is sitting at 1,350, 1,350 hit points. And lastly, the big boys, Berserker, which is a 4-bar here, and Viking, which is also a 4-bar. These guys are 1,500 hit points. So between the Scout here and the Berserker, you're looking at a 500 hit point difference. I am not sure how this correlates at all. It just doesn't add up. So what these bars mean, I'm just not sure. The Viking being at 1,500 hit points and the Scout being at 1,000, I can't really see the division properties that are going on here. Even if you had the Scout at, say, 1 bar and the Berserker was at 4 bars, you should be able to divide the 3-bar difference by 500. There's a 3-bar difference in the Scout and the Berserker. Divide that by 500, you get about 166.6666667 hit points per bar. But even that is not true, because if it were, the hunter here at 3 bars would have 1,333 HP. I'm sorry if I'm losing you with the math here, but I'm just trying to say that these bars are just nonsense, and they just kind of give you a rough gauge of where these guys are at in terms of hit points. Moving on, we can talk a little bit about movement speed. I did this testing myself. Again, these things, I don't know how true they are, but at least with my testing of the movement speed, I was able to come to a pretty good conclusion on how much each bar is. So basically, I took the Scout and I took the Berserker. I took the Scout and the Viking. Yeah, because the Berserker was a small 1.25 or something like that. I needed even bars. So I took the Viking and the Scout, and I took them and I ran, sprinted a set direction, and I knew exactly how far it was going to be, and I timed it for each one. It turns out that the Scout sprints about 15% faster than the Viking. And if he sprints 15% faster, given that he has 3 bars difference, we can assume that each bar is a 5% speed boost. So the Viking would be, given that's 1 bar, it has a 5% speed boost on its base of whatever the heck that is. So is that worth it to you? Well, it's pretty easy to notice the difference between the Scout and the Viking in terms of movement speed. I think we all can see that. By the way, this also applies for walking speed. So walking speed and sprint speed is both a 15% increase in time. To me, I think it's worth it, but there's definitely not a huge improvement, especially when you consider leap, which I'll be getting into. Real quick, before I get into leap, I'll go over gear quickly. It's another one of those cases where these stats kind of don't mean anything. One of the easiest ways to look at it is taking a look at the scout, which has 1 bar. So the scout having 1 bar, he has 8 points of gear. Okay. So we know next to the alpha predator has 2 points. 2 points. Okay. 10. That's starting to make sense. It's starting to sound like, oh, maybe every point of gear adds 2, perhaps. Same thing for the hunter as well. 10 points. So then we go to the 3 bar, the city hunter. A little bit more than 3 bars. So you would assume it's going to have 12, right? Yes, they do have 12. Great. But then we throw in the berserker, which has 4. So 4, you would think, what? Should be 14, right? Nope. Of course, it's 15. Okay, Ilphonic, I don't know if anybody else is as frustrated as I am, but having so many hidden stats that just, for one, don't make any sense. And I get it because it's for a casual game and a casual audience, but sometimes it drives me crazy. So moving on to leap, each class has a certain amount of leaps that they can do with their stamina bar, and each one of them having different stamina before they run out of stamina, and then have to regain it before they can do another leap. Scout, having the most stamina, can get about 5 to 6 leaps before they run out and it has to recharge. You have the city hunter, jungle hunter, and alpha predator. They all get about 3 leaps before you have to recharge. I think the alpha sometimes can get 4. As for the big boys, berserker and the Viking, they are getting 2 leaps. I haven't tested the samurai. Just going by their stamina, I can assume the samurai is probably only going to get 2 leaps, but they probably have less time to wait before they get to their 3rd leap. Another thing about leaps is a lot of people seem to think that each predator has a different distance in leaping. That is completely not true. There should be some documentation on my screen, or that has been on, showcasing this. Every predator has the same distance leap. Long jump, also. That is a perk right here at 3, leap further distances. That is the same for every single predator as well. Is it worth it? It's hard to say. After my first testing, I kind of didn't think it was really worth it, just because it seemed to be about a 15 to 20% increase in leap distance for 1 leap. But if you're looking at this video that I've been probably replaying a few times, you'll notice that 15 to 20% over the course of several leaps really makes a difference. You can certainly cover quite a bit more distance with long leap in, say, 3 leaps versus 2 leaps, or the amount of distance you cover in 3 leaps and 5 leaps. It's pretty insane. So if you're looking to really close the gap or really be able to just totally rotate across the entire map, it's not a bad idea to run long jump. Next, I'm going to get into second wind. There's not a whole lot of information on this, so I had to do the testing myself on this one. So second wind has, according to my testing, has a base cooldown of 261 seconds. This is directly after finishing the command to heal. So if you're on PC and you're in second wind and you hold E Once that animation of starting the heal, right when that starts, you have 261 seconds until second wind finishes its cooldown. So, one thing I tested with that, of course, is going to be impatient. Impatient reduces the cooldown period of second wind ability. Doesn't tell you how much. Well, what it does is it takes second wind cooldown from 261 seconds to 186 seconds. What that means is impatient is a 75-second faster second wind. That might not seem like a lot, but if you think about it in terms of minutes, by using impatient, you're giving yourself a minute and 15 seconds less before you can go in YOLO again or whatever it is that you're trying to do. But that's a minute and 15 seconds less for you to not feel like anytime you engage, you could possibly die and not be able to get away. Another fun fact, in a full 15-minute game with Impatient, you can technically get second wind 4 times, up from 3. So, hey, take that as you will. One quick thing, you probably already know this, but those of you that don't, if you were to use Modified Reserve all by itself on the Hunters, including the Elder and the Alpha, you have Infinite Cloak. If you use this on the Scout, however, you do not get Infinite Cloak. But if you use the Cloak in conjunction with your Vision, you do have Infinite Cloak and Infinite Vision, and you actually slowly gain energy. I think this is a pretty good perk. It definitely opens up the playing field when it comes to not feeling like you're worried about your energy consumption. I think maybe more advanced players won't need it because they're more aware of their energy. But if you're just getting started, or you're trying to improve, or you're trying to adopt a more patient play style, Modified Reserves is a great perk to have. So after going over just a few of these things, I have some other information, but I'm not sure how long this video is getting. I guess one of the questions that comes around a lot is what may be objectively the best class. And to understand this, there's a lot involved. There's different play styles that people tend to use. They use the all-in melee style. There's the downrange class where they're only using the plasma caster. Right now, the plasma caster is extremely powerful. The splash damage that it does is probably tipping on the scale of overpowered. So in terms of what is objectively best, that's a difficult thing to say. If we were to just go by, say, for example, health, like what is the difference? We're looking at a 50% difference between the Scout and the Berserker in terms of health. 1,000 versus 1,500. That's a lot of hit points. But what does that mean in game? That is one of the major questions. If you were to take all the fire team weapons and you kind of just got an average mean of damage per second, you're looking at around 275 damage per second. Now, you have 4 of these guys that are all doing 275 damage per second. That is very, very high damage per second. But let's apply like a 50% rule here. Let's say half of your fire team doesn't notice, and then even half of those bullets are hitting. So you're taking 275 DPS per person. You're cutting that in half. So now you just have 2 people that are doing 275 DPS each. So that comes out to, 550? Let's say their accuracy is bad and they have a 50% accuracy. So we're back to 275 DPS. So the difference between the Scout and the Berserker, 500 health. Or in the case of damage per second, now this is the 50-50 rule. Half of the people don't notice you, and even the other 2 that see you, half of the bullets are only hitting you. You're talking about 1.8 seconds more durability before you go to second wind between the Berserker and the Scout. Now, 1.8 seconds, that could be the difference between getting a slice in, getting a hit with your katana, getting a hit with your sickle. But really, the difference between a Scout and a Berserker at 275 DPS is literally 1.8 seconds of life. So is that worth it? I'm not sure. It's hard to say. We're also not factoring in other perks, like if you were to take the Berserker or the Viking and you throw on Impenetrable, that's going to give them a significant gain here. The Impenetrable perk gives them 20% extra damage reduction against bullets. So I don't think it works against. Does it work against shotguns? Bullet-based weapons. I'm not sure if it works against shotguns, but it certainly doesn't work against like rockets, for example. And rockets are definitely something to be watching out for. But sure, I mean, you're getting 20% off 1500. It brings you up to, I think, something like 1920. I'm probably wrong on that. But at its base, 1000 versus 1500, 1.8 second difference. There's not a lot. So really when it comes down to is health is important, I think, but it's not going to save you even when you're using the beefiest of beefy boys. So that's about all right now. I do have other notes and testing based off of energy, like how many plasma caster shots a class can do, how the perks can affect it, etc., etc. If these are the type of videos that you guys are interested in, I appreciate giving me a like, just give me a comment on things that you might be interested in learning about or me running. And you could also find me on the Predator Hunting Grounds Discord. I'm usually there every day hanging out. Come on by, give me a message, say hi. And yeah, thanks for watching.